What's up, guys? Kirk Gibson here. Today, I'm going to talk about such an important throw, a throw that many beginners, even all the way to the most advanced players, have not mastered and don't really have in their repertoire. It's a super, super important throw that can really change your game, help improve it, make you a much more dynamic player, especially in big game situations. So I'm going to take you through a few clips here at College Nationals, most recent big tournament, some ways not to do it and some ways to do it. And hopefully you'll be able to get some really good insights on how to improve this really important throw. All right, so the throw that we're talking about today is the soft upline high release flick. So as I was reviewing some of the footage from College Nationals, there was a few examples that I wanted to call out. And I'm going to start with what not to do on an upline throw. So here we are. We're looking at North Carolina versus Cal Poly. This is the semifinals of the men's division, College Nationals. North Carolina is up 13-12. It's tight. Cal Poly they were down 12-8, and they basically are on a 4-1 run. And so, you know, it's wet conditions. There's a little wind, but even more the reason of why you should not throw a low release flick to an upline cutter. They're very difficult to catch. So I'm going to play this clip. You're going to watch the UNC player right here. He is going to catch the Frisbee, and he's right here on your screen. You're going to watch this guy right here. He's going to make an upline cut, and he drops it. Okay, so we're just going to take a look at that again. So you're going to watch this player. I'm going to pause it this time. He's making it straight across upline cut. Okay, so this marker here is pretty much got like a flat sideways mark. So if this player decided to throw upfield, he's got all the room in the world. And I'm going to show you another angle here, but you're going to see this guy's got some steps. I'm going to play it a little slowly, but I want you to watch. Look at his release point here. Okay, he's all the way down. His left knee, he's a righty, his left knee is almost at the ground. His release point looks to be right around shin level with the disc. Now, and when you do that, you're basically, you've got to get a little snap on it because you got to throw it up, and there's more room for error with this type of throw. And because of that, you're going to see it comes out fast, and you're going to see it bounces a little bit. Yes, it's windy, but the offensive player has less room to react because it comes out pretty fast. So just watch how quickly it gets to him. Boom, and so he's got he gets his left hand on it, but it's windy conditions, and it's a tough throw. So just watch it one more time. Just watch it do a little bounce, and it's a hard throw. You're not really giving your receiver much to work with there. Okay, so now we're going to get a second angle at the same throw. So you've got the UNC player here. You can see his mark is just marking a pretty flat side mark, trying to kind of prevent the dump, but he's not completely around. So this player has plenty of space to pivot openly and throw upfield. So the first thing I want you to watch is I'm just going to play this through in fast motion. So you can just see it come through. You can see a little bounce there. I'm going to come back. Okay, so now we're back. And now I'm going to pause it here just as we go forward. So I'm going to go. Okay, so you can see here, look right here. His left knee is basically on the ground. He's squatted so far down. And you can tell it almost looks like his right foot is a little bit on his tippy toes. He's leaning a little bit. His right hand is on the ground because he's released it so low. You can see that Frisbee is close to shin level right there. This guy's flying across the screen, and he's basically trying to hit him in stride. And like I said, when you throw it low, it's hard to get some touch on it. You got to get some snap because you're kind of snapping it down, but also throwing it upwards. So it's a really difficult throw. I mean, it can work. He certainly could have caught it. He got his hand on it, but you're just going to see it. See, he just did a little bounce at the last second. He does get his hand on it, but he's got to reach. He's got to kind of lean, and it's wet, it's rainy, and it just makes the throw harder for your receiver. So is it a horrible throw? Well, I would argue that it's not a throw you should make if you can make a better throw, right? He did get it to his receiver, and if you played football, you may have heard the kind of expression, "Oh, if you get your hands on it, you should have caught it." Well, this is so different. This is a tight game situation. If you can make an easier throw and guarantee the catch, I would argue you should be making that throw every time. So he drops it here. You can see, all right, disappointed. Obviously not what they wanted there. But the other thing I'm going to point out is just watch his pivot. So he's facing the dump. Now, this is pretty normal, pretty straightforward. A lot of players do this because then it's easier to sometimes pivot around and get the around throw. That's fine. But I'm going to link my video that I did previously because I did it not too long ago, and it just seems very relevant here for players that if you're throwing up line throws, especially, or even arounds, and you're throwing them low, it's fine. There are uses for them if you need to, if you got a tough mark. But in this situation, he can take a step back, and I go over this in my video. He can take a step back, and he can make a nice throw where he's not leaning down super far. So I just want to see where he pivots. Look where he pivots. He pivots basically straight up, so he has to lean back. So he's leaning back. It's a harder throw. If his right foot, if he pivoted out, he wouldn't have had to lean backwards with his body and make that release point more difficult and potentially more room for error. He could get a much softer throw for that receiver to run in on. Okay, so this is another example. This is actually the same point a little bit earlier. We're just going to watch a different throw on the same point. This is a little different. It's a kind of a crossfield upline type throw, but the mark is pretty flat, so it's a similar place where you want to be able to throw a softer upline space shot. So let's just watch this guy right here. You're going to see the player cut across the screen, and he throws it a little bit low. The wind kind of bounces it, and it just goes straight into the ground. So let's just watch that again. I'm going to pause it so we can do it in slow-mo. So he's got a cutter pretty open. Okay, so you see him here. He throws it, releases it a little bit higher than the other player on North Carolina. He still leans quite a bit, and again, it's not inherently bad to lean. Sometimes you got to get around the mark, but he releases it low, and you can see that it just dies really quickly. And yes, it's a windy situation. There's some elements, but every reason to not give the wind a chance to be able to knock that throw down. So again, he leans over. You can see his hand pretty low after that release, and that disc is probably about knee level. So again, a little bit higher. But if he were to just step back a little bit and release this a little bit higher, the defender is nowhere near his guy. He doesn't need to hit him completely in stride. He has space, right? So again, is this a bad throw? He could probably complete it. Other players can complete it, a good percentage of the time, but why take the risk, right? You've got space. Take a slightly further step back if this guy's, really pressuring that flick, and release it a little bit higher, give it a little more arc, and it's just a higher percentage throw than kind of that low flick, especially in these kind of windy situations with guys cutting across the screen. Okay, so now I'm going to show you a good example of a nice upline throw, and I'll just show you the differences in the form and how they were thrown, because they certainly contribute a great deal into the speed of the disc and the ease of it to catch. And so you're going to see, got Leo Gordon here, Brown versus Colorado. This is also the other semifinal. Similar conditions, rain, wet, windy. Brown's up 6-5. And so Leo just catches it. But I'm going to just play this through so you can see he's going to have a cutter cut up line, and he throws a nice soft pass where Jacques can make a nice play on it. So let's just bring that back. So you're going to see Leo catch this, and we're going to just pause it at the release point. So Jacques is setting up his cut right now. You can see him right here. Leo hasn't turned around to the dump, so you can see that his right foot is a little closer to the sideline than his left foot. So his chest is facing towards the direction that he wants to throw. His mark is kind of cheating a little bit. Well, I shouldn't say cheating, but he's forcing him a little bit to do that because he's got a normal flick mark. He's at kind of a 45-degree angle. So let's just see. Jacques is setting up his cut. So you probably didn't see it, but Leo just did a quick step. He made a little quick step out and forward, a little bit away from the marker. Jacques got a little bit of space, and that's all you need with this throw. And you're just going to watch. I'm going to pause. Okay, so look where – so the marker then tried to move around, so he's got plenty of space. You see he took another step out towards the sideline, okay? He is not leaned back. He's leaned to the side. He's not leaned over his leg. And you can see the release point is right at his waist, and he's leaning over a little bit, which makes that throw a little bit easier. If you were to just throw that kind of standing completely straight up, you can do it. But sometimes lean's okay, and I do talk about that in my video if you want to be able to kind of just get a little bit more space. But look at the release point. You go back to that first throw, he was throwing it down by his shin. This is a couple feet higher than that. And what you're going to see, the float of this throw just stay right around shoulder head level the entire time. And it's soft. He's very relaxed. He's not kind of whipping it down and having to snap it. It's just a soft flick. So we're just going to watch this through. Just look at easy. So it bounced a little bit at the beginning, just like that other throw, but he threw it a little bit out in front and let the receiver run into it. He didn't hit him completely in stride. Watch, he catches it. I'll just play it full speed. So he leaves him just a little bit and lets the receiver run under it. But when it's at a shoulder level, right at that chest, shoulder, head level, it's a great place for the receiver to run under it. So there you have it. Hopefully you got something out of this. Like I said, that upline flick is a super important throw. I think it's super relevant, and I think players that do it really well and have that in their repertoire, if they need to step out and throw a high, soft flick, it's just so helpful to have, especially in windy conditions and adverse conditions. I learned that throw watching Tim Garrett back when I was in college, and I started copying that, and that just brought so much more to my game. So if you got any questions, comments, throw them in the comments below. Check out my video on how to throw that upline flick, and we'll see you guys next time. God bless.